Allah is my heart's speech, your mercy is what I beseech. Keep in my heart your remembrance, and in your deen allow me to advance. Help me in my quest, permit me to pass the ultimate test. Help me in my quest, permit me to pass the ultimate test.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. All praise due to Allah alone. We all praise Him and we seek His help. Whomsoever Allah guides is the truly guided one, and whomsoever Allah leaves astray, none can show him guidance. I bear witness that there is none worthy of worship but Allah alone, and Muhammad, peace be upon him, is his last messenger. Brothers and sisters, I would like to welcome you to another live edition of your program, Ask Huda. Our phone numbers beginning with the area code are 002 0238 555 249, alternatively area code 002 01125008679. The email address is ask@huda.tv, and the Facebook page is Dr. Muhammad Salah Official. We'll be more than happy to start receiving your valuable calls and concerns. Meanwhile, I would like to begin with answering some of the questions that I received on the page. Sister Muhammad says about the supplication that we mentioned in yesterday's episode with regards to witnessing the crescent. But here she says that the crescent of Ramadan. It is worth of mentioning here that this supplication is upon witnessing and seeing the crescent of any lunar month, not just Ramadan. And it is only for those who get to see it, not those who hear about it. Somebody is told that, oh, the crescent is born today, but he haven't seen it. It is only prescribed for those who get to see the crescent. In this case, they say, as the Prophet ﷺ said in the hadith, some of the scholars judged it as weak, and some judged it as hasan and as sahih. He would say, Allahumma ahillahu alayna bil-yumni wal-iman wal-salamati wal-islam wal-tawfiqi lima tuhibbu wa tarda Rabbuna wa Rabbuka Allah. O Allah, let the crescent loom above us in peace and faith, safety and Islam, and in agreement with all that you love and please you. Our Lord and your Lord is Allah. The last statement, you're addressing the crescent. Our Lord and your Lord is Allah. Rabbuna wa Rabbuka Allah. So this is as far as the hadith. And hopefully, inshallah, you guys have been preparing for the reception of this great guest, the blessed month of Ramadan. May Allah the Almighty enable us to witness this month safely, and enable us to worship Him properly and fulfill our duties towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I posted a reminder that we need to be as generous as possible to the best of our ability. We need to start looking for those who are in need, so that before Ramadan, all people, they start going shopping. They need to prepare for Ramadan. People do have different intentions though. Some people say, so that I can spare the time in Ramadan to pray, to recite Quran, to do my ibadah. I don't want to be disturbed by the urge of going to the market and doing shopping. That will eat up my time. That's a good intention. Other people perceive Ramadan as a good opportunity to feed the family, or actually overfeed the family. So they eat more than in any other time of the year, while in Ramadan the number of meals are reduced, because you only eat iftar and suhoor. And we're supposed to eat lesser than in any other time, so that we feel the hunger, the thirst, and the suffering of those who are in need. So amongst the preparation is to spare some time in Ramadan to focus on your ibadah, to focus on your recitation of the Quran. Normally, before every Ramadan, I advise that try to limit the visitations to the minimum. Sometimes people have, on every single day, people are coming in, or we're going to visit some people. It's like a celebration. We're going to break our fast here. If this is something that you do, then you finish your iftar and you go to the masjid and everybody offers their prayer in jama'ah and they offer their prayer and taraweeh. That is perfectly fine. But the problem is the household or the host of the house which hosts the guests, several families, the whole day is wasted during the day. And then after breaking the fast is wasted likewise in cleaning up, in taking care of the aftermath. So they don't utilize the day nor the night in worship, in prayer, or in recitation of Quran. And if they do that, awfully in the month of Ramadan, what a waste. Being generous does not necessarily mean that you consume the time in hosting people and sharing the sweet and the dessert, and by the end Ramadan is over. It is true that the Prophet ﷺ said, whoever offers an iftar meal to a fasting person, man fattara sa'iman, shall receive a similar reward of the reward of the fasting person without reducing the reward of either one of them. So you can definitely send your money to an orphanage or to an organization that takes care of the poor during the month of Ramadan and feeds poor families. So that will be very beneficial, and meanwhile without encountering any losses with regards to your time. Time is very precious. Time in Ramadan, especially in Ramadan, should be utilized in the best fashion. Hasina Basano says, I wanted to know if I could pray Salatul Istikhara regarding Ramadan. I wasn't able to fast due to illness last year, and I wanted to fast this Ramadan. However, I don't know if I can. Would it be okay for me to do istikhara in this situation? No. Al-istikhara is when you have a choice between doing or not doing two things, and both are permissible. Fasting during the month of Ramadan is mandatory. But as Allah the Almighty says, فَمَنْ كَانَ مِنْكُمْ مَرِيضًا أَوْ عَلَى سَفَرٍ فَعِدَّةٌ مِّنْ أَيَّامٍ أُخَرٍ. In ayah number 184, Allah the Almighty says of Surah Al-Baqarah, if the person happens to be either traveling or sick during any of the days of the month of Ramadan, where it is mandatory upon every male and female Muslim to observe fasting, but if they're sick, if they're traveling, they are exempt from fasting during the day, and فَعِدَّةٌ مِّنْ أَيَّامٍ أُخَرٍ. They just need to make up those missed days some other time, same number of days after Ramadan, obviously. And if the person is chronically ill, is living with this illness and sickness, and is not expected to recover, or at least it is known that this is a chronic ailment, in this case, they are exempt from fasting, and they just simply give the fidya. فَفِدْيَةٌ طَعَامُ مِسْكِينٍ. You will only feed one poor person per each day. You can do that on a daily basis. You can do that in the beginning of Ramadan by feeding 30 people or feeding one person for the 30 days. This is all fine. And that is a ransom for not being able to fast during the month of Ramadan or the mandatory fasting due to sickness. And you know that it's not expected for you to be able to fast in the near future, at least. If Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala cures you and you're able to fast, that's perfectly fine. You can start from the scratch. But we're talking about ordinary conditions, where the doctor says to this patient, you're hypertensive, you're diabetic, and you need to keep drinking water, for instance. You need to take the medication on time. And in order to take the medication, if it is tablets or cablets or capsules, you have to swallow it with water. So you have to break your fast. Obey your doctor. If this is something serious, and you're not blameworthy, you'll not be punished for that. Rather, the reward is maintained. Not only for the fard, but for the nafila as well. Because the Prophet ﷺ said, إِذَا مَرِضَ الْعَبْدُ أَوْ سَافَرَ كُتِبَ لَهُ مَا كَانَ يَفْعَلُهُ. Whenever the servant of Allah falls ill or travels, whatever he used to do of the good deeds, of the acts of worship, whenever he was healthy, whenever he was resident, will be stated and recorded for him, and he will maintain the full reward for it, as if he has done it exactly. Why? Because the person is unable to fulfill it due to an external factor. Now he's sick, he cannot fast anymore. Or since he's traveling, doesn't have a chance to pray at night. So the reward is maintained, even though he cannot fulfill. I know it is very hard, especially on people who are devout worshippers, who are very keen and anxiously waiting for the month of Ramadan to fast. Now they're hit with a calamity or sickness, and you tell them that you're exempt from fasting. The doctor said you cannot fast. You're dehydrated and you gotta keep drinking water. My mother just fell ill, and she cannot fast anymore. So every time we discuss the month of Ramadan is approaching, she starts crying. I keep assuring her, don't worry, you will maintain the same reward, but she keeps crying, because it is not about doing business that, oh, the reward is guaranteed. No, it's about loving to do something that pleases Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And I'm pretty sure that a lot of Muslims are like that. I had a student in the States who was an epileptic patient. And she was very practicing Muslim, alhamdulillah. But she had to take the pills on regular times in order to avoid the fits, the seizure attacks. So whenever she would fast, she would have a fit. And finally she decided, I told her that you have to take the medication and you're not blameworthy. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala cure you, but you have to take the medication. So I was surprised that she says, I take the pill without water. I know that it will still invalidate my fasting, but I'm fasting and I will still give the fidya. This is how keen she is. That she wanted to observe fasting. She wanted to join the Muslim Ummah in observing fasting. And meanwhile, she has to take the medication, so she would take it without swallowing water. Obviously, one doesn't have to do that. It's a lot easier than that. وَمَا جَعَلَ عَلَيْكُمْ فِي الدِّينِ مِنْ حَرَجٍ يُرِيدُ اللَّهُ بِكُمُ الْيُسْرَ وَلَا يُرِيدُ بِكُمُ الْعُسْرَ. Allah wants to make things easy for you, does not want to make things hard and difficult upon you. That's in Surah Al-Baqarah. And this ayah is ayah number 185, in which Allah the Almighty speaks about fasting. يا من كان مريضا أو على سفر فعدة من أيام أخر. If you're traveling, if you're sick, just make it up some other days. Do not hurt yourself. Do not burden yourself. But I'm just sharing with you how some people love to pray, some people love to fast. As much as some people love to go out and dine outside and take vacations and go to the beach and strip naked, and those people, as Allah the Almighty described them in the Quran, وَالَّذِينَ آمَنُوا أَشَدُّ حُبًّا لِلَّهِ. While the believers, they love Allah more than those people who love their false deities or love their dunya or love their desires. So there is a difference between fulfilling the ibadah because I have to do it. It is mandatory. I'm afraid that I will be punished. Or I want to enter Jannah and expecting the reward. These are all legitimate reasons. But the highest of all, I'm doing this because it pleases Allah the Almighty. I love to please Allah. I love to do things which will make Allah happy with me. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala increase our iman. So sister, if your doctor says that you're not supposed to fast, and this is serious, you don't pray istikhara. You just break your fast, take your medication, and feed one miskin for each day of Ramadan, whether it's 29 days, 30 days, whatever. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward you a full reward for that. Kim Muhammad says, what measure will I take for my daughter who is not mindful in her prayer? I wish you could have shared with us how old is she. But generally, I would like to say, if you are confronted with any problem and facing any challenge, number one, seek the help of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Seek the help of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Turn to Allah with dua. ask Allah to guide your daughter, ask Allah to make it easy for her to offer the prayer, to love to do what pleases Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is the greatest help, asking the help of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Secondly, as long as you are at home, every time you make wudu and you're ready to pray, ask your daughter to join you and lead her in jama'ah. If she's grown up a little bit, you can ask her to lead you in jama'ah. Observing the prayer on a regular basis, she would actually love it. Any person who was invited to enter the masjid even against his or her will, because they were embarrassed, they were shy, they had to, eventually after a few prayers they will love it, because in the prayer there is comfort and peace of mind. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Sister Hafsa from the KSA.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Okay, Sheikh, can zakat be given as a food items? Zakat money can be given as a food items?
As a food items, you mean, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Is the zakah on your cash or your investment or your stocks?
On cash.
Okay. Then give the zakah in cash, sister, and the poor knows better what he or she and what they actually need more. So if your zakah is on cash, saving, or investment, calculate the 2.5% and pay it to the poor and let them buy whatever they want with that cash. Assalamu alaikum. Abu Maryam from Qatar. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, Sheikh. How are you, Sheikh?
Fine, alhamdulillah. Welcome to Ask Huda, Akhi.
One thing I want to ask, Sheikh, I visited the grave. I saw some people pouring water on the grave, and there's a plant on the grave. So I don't know if it's something that is appropriate. And second of all, I did not need the prayer for Janaza, and I reached there where they already buried the area, and I saw people also still praying there. So I feel not good to pray because I don't know if it's permissible or not. So that's the question I want to ask.
Abu Maryam, you're talking about you observed Salatul Janaza late and the people were doing what?
Yeah. In the masjid, I missed the one in the masjid, so I went to the graveyard. Already they buried the coffin, so some people came late and they also prayed Janaza in the burial instead of the masjid. Yeah.
I'm sorry, I still didn't get the question. The Janaza and the coffin in the masjid, what happened?
No, I mean, if you go for Janaza, it's going to be in the masjid with people. But I missed to pray with congregation for the Janaza. So they took the burial ground, the dead person to the grave to bury it.
I see.
So
okay.
I missed the one, I missed in the masjid with the congregation. So when I reached to the graveyard, okay. So I see some people that came late, also in the graveyard, also giving,
now I got your question.
On the dead.
Now I got your question. Simply,
okay.
Jazakallah.
Thank you very much.
Wa jazakum. Thank you. Abu Maryam is saying that they missed Salatul Janaza in the masjid. So when they went to the graveyard, he saw some people were offering the Janaza on the grave. Is that permissible? It is permissible. If the person missed the congregational prayer of Salatul Janaza, the funeral prayer, he still can offer it in the graveyard, but facing the Qibla, not facing the grave. If the grave is facing the Qibla and you're facing the Qibla, no problem, because your intention is you're facing the Qibla. It's a prayer that requires facing the Qibla, beginning with Takbir and complete Tahara of the spot, the body, and the one's clothes. So the Prophet ﷺ, once in the sound hadith, which says that there used to be a black woman who used to take care of the cleaning of the masjid, and the Prophet ﷺ missed her. She was not seen anymore. So he inquired about her. كانت تقوم الحصى في المسجد. He said, what happened to her? I don't see her anymore. They said, Ya Rasulullah, she have expired and we already buried her. So the Prophet ﷺ was upset and he said, هَلَّا آذَنْتُمُونِي? Why didn't you guys tell me? They said, we didn't want to disturb you and we did whatever we can. They said, دُلُّونِي عَلَى قَبْرِهَا. Take me to her grave. Then he went along with some of his companions and the Prophet ﷺ led them in another funeral prayer. And this is the reference to if somebody came late, if somebody even came days late, not just hours, or missed the prayer, the first prayer, he still can offer Salatul Janazah on the grave while facing the Qibla. The purpose of Salatul Janazah or the funeral prayer is to make dua and to intercede for the dead person, seek forgiveness for the dead person, ask Allah to have mercy on that particular person. So that will benefit him even if it is not offered on its earliest time before the burial. And since we have a reference that the Prophet ﷺ did so whether you can offer it in another jama'ah or you offer it by yourself whenever you have a chance, that is permissible, Brother Abu Maryam. Thank you so much. So, Kim Muhammad, we said about the daughter who's not mindful of her prayer, whether the daughter or the son. Number one, seek the help of Allah, make dua for their guidance. Number two, you yourself make certain that whenever it is a prayer time, whether it is the mother or the father. Now, since it seems like a mother is complaining about her daughter who is not mindful of her prayer, just make wudu and ask her to make wudu and join you in the prayer. Pray in jama'ah, pray in congregation. That will make certain that she is offering the prayer. And when the person tastes the sweetness of the prayer and finds a comfort in the prayer, then he or she will do it automatically, and they will be regular on that. If the person is raised since his or her childhood, religiously committed, then most likely the person would automatically follow the same path and will be regular in his or her prayer. I'm talking about most of the cases, generally speaking. Okay? While it is very hard for a person who was raised because his parents were negligent of the prayer, they were very keen of being successful in their life, in their business, in education, but when it came to the prayer, you're free to do whatever you want to do because I don't want to push you. I don't want to, force you to do it. Likewise with the hijab, likewise with the eating habits, likewise with halal and haram. Then all of a sudden you want to switch the button and you want to say, enough is enough. We're going to start a new page. It's going to be very hard. And sometimes it leads to breaking down the relationship, breaking down the lifestyle. So rather you have to take it gradually, the same way that you did not change overnight. Keep talking about the importance and the significance of the prayer, how much success the person will experience when he or she are connected to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, what you yourself experience of joy and delight, comfort and peace of mind whenever you pray. Talking about that all the time, you're not making up stories, you're sharing with your child facts, educating them about these facts, make them observe those facts that you're talking about and referring to when they start offering the prayer. Faridi Habib, the question is kind of long, but inshallah I'll try to summarize it. She says, my husband lives in Norway and the city at the same time, inshallah, even the month of Ramadan, the sun doesn't set. It's 24 hours daylight and there is no dark. Last year they fasted Ramadan according to the KSA, and they would break their fast with the KSA. Type. I think I got your question. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Sister Maryam from Libya. Assalamu alaikum, Sister Maryam.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
This is Sister Maryam again from Libya, Sheikh. I have two questions.
Go ahead.
Yes, my first question is ruqya permissible in Islam?
Is ruqya?
Ruqya permissible in Islam? If so, can you enlighten me more about this? Because here in Libya, I usually heard from all my patients that they go to this for ruqya, because really, even in my country in Philippines, but I am not really sure what is this ruqya. And my second question is, can you give me good or best dua or supplication that I can read to my patient? That's all, Sheikh.
Okay.
Jazakallahu khair. Salam.
Salam. Ma'as-salam, sister. Thank you. Salam. Brother Nasser from the KSA.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, Sheikh.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome, Nasir, to Ask Huda.
Jazakallah khair, Sheikh. Sheikh, I have 3 questions to ask. The first is about the witr prayer. Like, can someone like on a regular basis pray 1 rak'ah only for witr? And my second question is related to the pictures. Like, for example, if you have a baby in the house and you have baby's pampers and everything, and there's pictures on them. So how to basically avoid them to in order to perform our salah? Like, is it okay to keep those things in the room or something, or pray in a different room where there's no pictures or something like this?
Those pictures.
I mean, of course, we don't have anything on the walls, but just on the toys and stuff. And
Okay.
Sheikh, the third question, lastly, is for example, if a lady is pregnant and she misses her fasts in those days, so can she pay fidya for that or no? Jazakallah khair, Sheikh.
وجزاكم. Thank you, Brother Nasser from the KSA. We'll take a short break, and inshallah we'll be back in a few minutes. Please stay tuned.
So let me stray, please guide my way.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to another episode of Let's Talk on your favorite channel, Huda TV. I'm your host, Arkham Rashid. They actually did such and such that you're accusing him of in your mind. So now I want to start off with my right hand side, Brother Ahmed. If you can just tell us what your thoughts were on that video, what can you extract from that video? Would you say some of the youth turn to drugs, especially in your country, if they don't have jobs, or it's because they want to get away from their daily normal lives? Would you say that's a reason?
Absolutely, that's true. Some people just resort to drug as the last option because they get themselves straight out and they're instead of depression, but they don't know where to turn for help.
Sports per se is like a communal social activity, whereas it collects the community together and it bonds brotherhoods together. It's very social in its aspect where you interact with your teammates or your players in a team.
So I think a message would be just to stay completely away from it. Even we can say, oh look, it's haram.
I'm calling your name.
TV commercials motivate viewers into immediate action and to sway consumer loyalty from one brand or service to the other. That's why we're here for you, to help you sell your products and services by using creative ideas that bring life into your own TV commercial. Advertise your business and branded products and services on Huda TV. We will offer you fast-paced and energetic 30-second affordable TV spots. Advertise on Huda TV. Acquire fresh customers and stay within your budget. For more info or to receive a quote, please send your...
Reading Allah's name, may the blessings of Allah be on Al-Mustafa. None besides him could have been Al-Mujtaba. Muhammad, peace be upon his soul. The greatest of prophets, Islam was his only goal. Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. From among all the prophets, Muhammad was the last, as his was a mission of the greatest task. There was only moral degeneration. People clung to idol adoration. For all nations he was Al-Mukhtar.
When the Prophet, peace be upon him, was asked about the best deed, he said, to offer prayer at the beginning of its time. Muhammad, peace be upon him, our ultimate role model.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome back. Sister Maryam from Libya asked about, first of all, the legitimacy of Ar-Ruqya and what is it all about. Ar-Ruqya is a supplication that you recite for somebody either to protect him in the future, or if he or she is suffering from ailment or an evil eye or a sorcery or a magical spell, hoping that Allah the Almighty will cure him or her via the means and the virtues of this ruqya. It's all about supplication. You either recite verses from the Quran, particularly Ayatul Kursi, and the last 3 chapters of the Quran, which are known as Al-Mu'awwidhat. These are the best means of ruqya. Or reciting Surah Al-Fatiha, or simply reciting any part of the Quran. This is the greatest means of ruqya. There are some prescribed supplications that the Prophet ﷺ used to recite, such as, after this call, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum. Tawfiq from Qatar. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Welcome to ask Huda, Tawfiq. Assalamu alaikum.
Hello?
Yeah, go ahead.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
I'm fine, alhamdulillah. Go ahead.
Okay. I got one question only.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, and I wanted to ask about the Sirah to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, how he used to go with his wife. Somebody told me he used to go with his wife. He used to stay in front, and his wife used to follow him from behind. Somebody told me like that, and I never heard such a thing. If you can help me out on this.
Okay. Got your question, Tawfiq. Barakallahu feek. Jazakallahu khairan. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Alina from Pakistan. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam, Sheikh. How are you?
Fine, alhamdulillah. Thank you for asking. Welcome to Ask Huda.
Jazakallah khair, Sheikh. Sheikh, I have 2 questions to ask. The first question is that can we blow du'as like or surahs like Surat Falak and Surat Nas on little children or babies or any child of the same age? And the second question is that what are the ruling about comedy programs that are being aired on various channels these days?
What programs?
Comedy programs.
Comedy.
Yeah.
Okay.
So these are the 2 questions, Sheikh. Jazakallah khair.
Wa jazakum. Thank you, Alina from Pakistan. Brother Abdullah from the KSA. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Welcome to Ask Huda, Abdullah.
Thank you. I have 3 questions.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The first one is that my mom always argues with me that the Quran has in it everything that science has discovered or will ever discover. It contains all the ideas, theories, facts, and everything as that is related to science. So I inquire about that.
Abdullah, sorry, your voice was breaking off. You said that your mom is always arguing with you concerning what?
Concerning that the Quran contains everything that science has discovered or will ever discover. It contains all these facts, theories, ideas, everything related.
Okay, that part again, your voice is breaking off. Arguing with you concerning the Quran and what theory?
Quran and science.
Quran and science. Yes. What about it?
With the science, the Quran contains all these facts and theories related to science or not.
Okay.
Second question is regarding the career.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I passed my 12th standard 2 months back with distinction, alhamdulillah. Now, alhamdulillah, I always get good marks in my exams. So now it is time for me to choose my career and decide with life. So I want you to advise me on that. And Sheikh, I am also confused about the fact that the job of a dai, a person who calls others to Islam, is considered the best. So does that mean I should skip pursuing any academic career and become a full-time dai? Because I want to earn the greatest possible ajr in this world and hereafter. So please guide me on that too.
Okay. Thank you,
And
Abdullah.
my third question is that.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, our relatives, unfortunately, they practice a lot of bid'ah, and in some cases they go to shirk, extreme practices. So we try our best to convince them by reasoning and logic and providing them with all the tools, but they're just too stubborn to understand. So what shall we do in this case?
Okay. Thank you, Abdullah. Barakallah feek. So back with the sister Mariam's question. Mariam from Libya, who inquired about the ruqya, and he said, what is the meaning of ruqya and why is it recited? And anyone can recite ruqya upon anyone. So it is recommended because the Prophet ﷺ used to recite the ruqya upon Al-Hasan wal-Husayn, his grandsons, where he would say, أعيذكما بكلمات الله التامة من كل شيطان وهامة ومن كل عين لامة ومن شر النفاثات في العقد ومن شر حاسد إذا حسد. These are all means of seeking refuge and protection in Allah against the evil eye, against Satan, against the magical spells, and against every harmful insect. Then when Allah revealed the last 2 chapters of the Quran, the 3 chapters, Al-Ikhlas, Al-Falaq, and Al-Nas, Al-Mu'awwidhat, the Prophet ﷺ started using these surah as means of ruqya. Amina from Kenya, Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah. How are you, Sheikh?
I'm fine, alhamdulillah. Thank you, Sister Amina, for calling, and go ahead.
Thank you. Yeah, Sheikh, my question was, we have some telecommunications company here in Kenya. If you top up your credit, then sometimes you win a lot of money. Maybe your intention is not to win the money, it was just to top up the credit. But then maybe you told you've won, like, let me say, Kenya shillings, 1 million Kenya shillings, which is a lot of money here in Kenya, or even 10 million. Is that money halal, or if maybe I'm told I've won the money, do I just say maybe I don't want it? It's just a communication company. It's a big communication company here in Kenya. Thank you very much, Sheikh, for the work you are doing. We are so blessed here in Kenya. Thank you very much, and may God bless all of you and the team, inshallah.
Thank you, Sister Amina from Kenya. And guess what? Inshallah, soon, myself, Mufti Mink, and Saeed Raga, inshallah, will be visiting Kenya very soon, inshallah. I have visited Kenya before, but this visit is going to be different, inshallah, Azza. Thank you. Al-Ruqya. Every one of us should recite ruqya upon himself, upon herself, upon their family members when you know that somebody is sick. What is not recommended is to ask somebody to recite ruqya upon you, because it may take you out of the 70,000 who shall enter paradise without previous reckoning, without accountability. Because when the Prophet ﷺ said in the long hadith about 70,000 who shall enter paradise without previous hisab, those who do not believe in bad omens, those who do not seek ruqya from others, rather they completely put their trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I've explained this hadith before in detail. But now, provide the ruqya for yourself and others is recommended. And since you're working in the medical field, as I understood, he asked, what is the dua that you should recite for the patient, for your patients? The Prophet ﷺ taught us multiple du'as in this regard. One dua, he says that when you visit a sick person and you recite in his presence this supplication 7 times, if Allah the Almighty did not destine him to die in this sickness, then he will be cured because of the virtues of this supplication. To say 7 times the following dua: As'alullah al-Azim, Rabb al-Arsh al-Azim, an yashfiyaka, if it is a male, an yashfiyaki, if it is a female, if the patient or the sick person is a female. So what do you say? As'alullah al-Azim, Rabb al-Arsh al-Azim, an yashfiyaka. I ask Allah the Great, the Lord of the Great Throne, to cure you. You say it 7 times. There are other supplications. You can find them in this little beautiful booklet which is known as the Fortress of the Muslim. We're making a new app by the grace of Allah which will have all the adhkar and so on. So you'll have the adhkar in Arabic and in English, hopefully with the audio as well. The dua is Allahumma Rabban Nas, Adhib al-Bas, Ishfi anta shafi, La shifaa illa shifauka shifaan la yughadiru saqama. Very comprehensive supplication that when you recite upon a sick person, inshallah, he or she will be cured. Not to forget that you should always remind a person who's suffering or aching because of sickness or ailment that this is definitely good for him or her. If this person was not a practicing Muslim, so Allah the Almighty remits much of his sins because of his patience during his sickness. If this person was a righteous person, Allah the Almighty raises him into higher ranks because of his patience due to his sickness. When the Prophet ﷺ was suffering in his death rattle while he was lying down on his deathbed, and Abdullah ibn Mas'ud touched him and he figured that he was extremely hot. He asked the Prophet ﷺ, how do you bear the heat? He said, I'm having double the fever of any of you. He said, is it that because Allah wants to raise you into the highest rank? He said, yes, indeed. And in the sound hadith, the Prophet ﷺ said, ما يصيب المسلم من هم ولا نصب ولا وصب حتى الشوكة يشاكها إلا كفر الله بها من خطايا. Anything that afflicts the believer, anything that afflicts the believers, worries, hardship, difficulty, any crisis, death of loved ones, loss of properties, sickness, ailment, even if it is just mere thorn that pricks his skin, Allah the Almighty removes some of his sins because of that. So these are all means of kafarat, remitting the sins. The believers perceive it this way, and they understand this is from Allah, a gift. So they endure it patiently. Talking to the sick people with this style, reminding them with the virtues of sickness and forgiveness of sins as a result of that will strengthen them and give them steadfastness in order to be patient due to their sickness. Brother Nasser from the KSA asked about the minimum number of rak'ahs for the witr prayer. The minimum number of rak'ahs for the witr prayer is 1 rak'ah. Why? According to Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal and his school of thought, and similarly Al-Imam al-Shafi'i, Muhammad ibn Idris Shafi'i and the Shafi'i school of thought, they rely on a sound hadith in which the Prophet ﷺ said, Salatul Layli Masna Masna. You want to pray at night? It is best to pray 2 by 2. Then فَإِنْ خِفْتَ الصُّبْحَ, if you fear that dawn will approach or the adhan will be called, فَأَوْتِرْ بِرَكَعَةٍ. Then pray 1 rak'ah. It will be your witr. But this is the minimum. If you pray 1 rak'ah, if you pray the 2 sunnah of Isha, which is emphatic sunnah, then you pray the witr, which is also emphatic sunnah, that is sufficient. But this is what we call it the minimum requirement. But there is the minimum of the ideal. The minimum of the best is to pray at least 3 rak'ahs, either all together with 1 tashahhud and 1 taslim, or 2 rak'ahs, then tashahhud and taslim, then you get up to pray the third by itself. And the 3 rak'ahs all together will be called witr. According to Imam Abu Hanifa, may Allah have mercy on him and his school of thought, he said it is not valid to pray 1 rak'ah as witr. And it is disliked because he relied on a hadith where the Prophet ﷺ in this hadith saw somebody praying only 1 rak'ah, and he said, this is called al-butayra, like a cut-off prayer, insufficient, incomplete. And said, I'm going to discipline you if you do it again. Investigating the authenticity of this hadith is not a hadith. It's not even a hadith to rely upon. And that's why we say the least number of rak'ahs for the witr is 1. The least of the ideal is 3. Either you pray them all together or 2 by themselves and 1 separate. And they're all called witr still. Barakallahu fikum. You also asked about a pregnant woman during Ramadan. Would it be sufficient to give the fidyah and that's it? And she doesn't owe any fasting afterward? The answer is no. Look into ayah number 184 of Surah Al-Baqarah, and also ayah number 185, in which Allah the Almighty prescribed fasting, and He said, فَمَنْ كَانَ مِنْكُمْ مَرِيضًا أَوْ عَلَى سَفَرٍ, then He said, فَعِدَّةٌ مِنْ أَيَّامٍ أُخْرٍ. What about وَعَلَى الَّذِينَ يُطِيقُونَهُ فِدْيَةٌ طَعَامُ مِسْكِينٍ? Briefly, if the person is traveling, or if the person is sick, then he is allowed to skip fasting, yet they have to make up the same number of days min ayyamin ukhar, after Ramadan, whenever you have a chance. You have 11 months to make up the missed days. But if the person is living with the sickness and reached an age where they cannot fast, فَفِدْيَةٌ, then in this case, just give a fidyah, feed 1 miskin per each day. Similarly, it was also repeated in ayah number 184, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, فَمَنْ كَانَ مَرِيضًا أَوْ عَلَى سَفَرٍ فَعِدَّةٌ مِنْ أَيَامٍ أُخَرٍ. The following ayah, 185. فَعِدَّةٌ مِنْ أَيَّامٍ أُخَرٍ. We understand from that pregnancy, breastfeeding, sickness, and operation, or traveling, these are all temporary reasons that give you the concession to skip fasting, yet you will be required to make up the same number of days which you missed after you recover, whenever you return, whenever you're capable. So we have 184 and 185, the 2 references. The ayat of fasting in general, just to keep in mind, are beginning from ayah number 183 of the 2nd chapter of the Quran. يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا كُتِبَ عَلَيْكُمُ الصِّيَامُ كَمَا كُتِبَ عَلَى الَّذِينَ مِنْ قَبْلِكُمْ لَعَلَّكُمْ تَتَّقُونَ. We have here, Alina from Pakistan, who asked about the permissibility of blowing. She said, blow in the Quran upon the children. You don't blow the Quran, you recite the Quran. You can do in your hand, you recite the 3 last chapters of the Quran, then you blow twice like this, then use your hand and cover and wipe with them over the head or the face or the body of your child. Yes, you can do that. And we just mentioned how the Prophet ﷺ used to recite the ruqyah upon his grandsons, Al-Hasan wal-Husayn. Then when the Prophet ﷺ was healthy, he would always recite these ayat, this surah, before going to sleep. But whenever he fell ill before his death and he couldn't even raise his hands, so Aisha radiallahu anha would recite in his hands and use his hands to wipe over his face, sallallahu alayhi wasallam. We ran out of time, but inshallah azza jal, I keep in mind the questions of Brother Abdullah and Tawfiq and Sister Amina from KSA, I believe. No, Sister Amina from Kenya. Inshallah, next episode I'll begin by answering these pending questions. Brothers and sisters, may Allah the Almighty enable us to witness the blessed month of Ramadan and help us to be devout worshippers and accept it all from us. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Allah is my heart's speech. Your mercy is what I beseech.